Hi guys, my name is Nicolette Mashile. I am also known as the Financial Bunny. Welcome to the Financial Bunny TV. I'm really excited because I'm going to be speaking to a young entrepreneur who's making moves in South Africa within the property sector. In actual fact, they don't only build your brick and mortar, they have put together a fund which, if you don't have the means to buy your own brick and mortar, you can step into the property space. Lebogang, welcome to my channel.
Thank you very much for having
What an
me.
absolute pleasure to be speaking to you.
It's an absolute pleasure to be engaging with you too.
You know why I say it's a pleasure? I think often or not we get into conversations with people that are aspirational about things that they want to do or they want to get into the property space, but never do you really speak to somebody who looks like you, who is relatively in the same age group as you, who is really doing it. And I think probably one of my first questions that I want to ask you is, where do you get the guts from?
I think when you grew up with nothing, right? So it's either you have two options. It's either you accept your conditions to say, okay, I'm gonna end up like this anyway, so I might as well, join the group, or you just get fed up of your environment, your conditions. You're like, I need to do something because no one is coming to save me. No one is coming to rescue me. None of my family members have money. I don't have an uncle that I can borrow from, so I need to find a way to get out of this situation because I don't want it. I hate poverty with all my being. In fact, I hate the smell of poverty.
Yeah.
So that's how much I hate poverty. So as a result of that, I just took it upon myself to say, if I need to change my life, it's up to me to make it happen.
Where's home?
I was born and raised in a squatter camp called the Mandelagofa in Tembisa.
Oh, wow.
I was raised by a single parent, which is my mother. And that's where I grew up.
You know, it's funny because I think for a lot of people, our default setting is you've got to go out there and just do best.
100%.
And I think people don't, a majority of people don't understand that. People always think that there must be some level of smart, or there's like an intelligence barometer that you're supposed to hit. But I think that at the basis and foundation of most of us, the default is, I don't want this and I don't want this repeating itself, therefore I have to make sure that I am successful.
100%. I mean, there's a saying that says in life you either running away from something or running towards something. With me, it's both. I'm running away from the lack of everything, be it lack of knowledge, lack of money, lack of resources, lack of time, lack in general. I'm just running away from lack, of which it leads to poverty. And secondly, it's I'm running towards something, which is freedom. I just want freedom of everything: freedom of time, freedom of speech, freedom of movement, freedom of money, just financial freedom overall. That's exactly what I'm running away from. I think that's the essence of my drive.
I know that you guys have two main business, and I don't want to say project, but main two business areas, right?
Yes.
Currently, right now, one of the biggest one is your rental market or rental property development business,
Yes.
where you are building these properties and you are renting them out. And then on the other hand, you guys do have a fund that is actually closing on the 28th, which is Monday, guys. This fund is closing, and I just want Lebogang to take us through both sides of it in as much of a summarized version as possible. If you are looking for the extended conversation, it is on my IGTV. So let's start with the building, the actual rental market that you are tapping into. Where are your properties? Where are you guys building? And I know there's a price incentive attached to it. So talk us through that side of your business.
So every business exists to solve problems.
Yes.
So if your business does not solve problems, you're not in business. So our business exists to solve two problems. On the development and property development side is basically we are solving the accommodation problem, of which you look at the statistics, they tell us that at average household income of 6 people, over 75% of the population of South Africa, they earn less than 15,000 rand per household. So that tells you that most people can't afford to stay in suburban areas.
Yeah.
Most people can't afford to stay in accommodation spaces that are comfortable, secured, that comes at a premium. So therefore, as a result, people want a better living conditions. They want a dignified space that they can live in. But also affordability is the biggest issue. That's why we decided to partner up with our partners or suppliers and our stakeholders that we have to ensure that we're bringing the superior product, which is comfortable, which is secured, which is dignified, but with an affordability element into it, by ensuring that we're bringing a certain product, but at a township price.
Okay, so I'm assuming I'm going to make some very broad assumptions here. First and foremost, the first assumption I'm going to make is you are building low-cost housing. But now, if it's low-cost housing, it comes with a stigma. You're building in the townships. Again, there is another stigma.
Yes.
How are you guys going around that?
So basically what we're doing is we are changing how people view the township property. So township property, previously it was known for back rooms, of which we're moving away from the back room setup by ensuring that everyone has a self-contained apartment that has your bathroom that you don't have to share with anyone, that has a fully fitted kitchen, that has your stove, your sink, and your cupboard space that is enough for you to function around it, that has a living area, that has a Wi-Fi connection, that has DSTV plug and play connection, and the rest of the space you can customize it to your preference. But your bathroom is fully functional. It is your shower, it is your toilet, it is your basin, and you are really comfortable within your space. So the same product that you get in the suburban areas, we're bringing the same product into the townships and changing how people view it, and also improving our people's livelihood that are renting from our apartments. So that's exactly what we're bringing. So it's a totally different product than the one that we previously got in the townships.
Well, let's talk about a building. I mean, development is not cheap. It's definitely not five bob, and you can only go as far as possible, in terms of making sure that you give people the superior product within the townships, as you actually phrasing it, but at the same time being able to give them the prices that these rental prices. Maybe talk us through what the actual rental prices are currently, or the averages, and then tell us how you're getting that right.
So when it comes to that, there was a lot of systems that we needed to build and a lot of partnerships that we needed to get into, by explaining the vision and the end goal of what the product that we wanted to bring in the market. And so by that we got into partnership with our suppliers, the building material suppliers. So for instance, just the recent completed one, we saved over 32% on our building material costs.
That's insane.
Yeah. So we use the same brick and mortar that the Santin guys use. Yeah. But we're getting at a ridiculous.
What are you saying to these people? What's the sales pitch? I need to understand the sales pitch. If I'm going to start a development project, I need to know what your sales pitch is.
So basically it's a partnership more than anything.
Okay.
So you're getting into a partnership long term by exclusively having them supply you with those building materials. You buy only from them. Therefore, as a result, they give you discounts, some of the products, because they're also giving back to the communities that they operate from. Yeah. So therefore, they also give certain products at cost. So you get a direct cost that they get from their suppliers, getting it directly from. So when they order from the suppliers to deliver to your development site. Without, you won't have to pay the transport costs.
So there's no third party costs.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's quite impressive, because I'm actually doing a project on animation. I don't know if you guys know that to animate 110,000 rand per minute.
Yeah.
I'm a Popeye, guys. 110,000 rand per minute. And that is the lowest price I could get. But I've assured these guys, and I said, listen, let's negotiate on the price, so that when I get the investors on board, you guys get first refusal on doing this project. And I guess that's something similar that you're doing.
100%.
Yeah.
So those are partnerships that you build, and ensuring that you still keep the same standard, the same quality, but you bring the price down. making sure that it can be filtered down to the guys that is renting from your development.
So what is that filtered down price to the renter?
Our bachelor apartments or studio apartments, they start from 2,500 rand
Sure.
per month. And these are
How many square meters?
28 square meters.
Yeah.
They're fully fitted with your bathroom, your kitchen, with your glass stoves.
Fancy schmancy.
So we're basically bringing the product that you can find in suburban
Yeah.
areas, but we're making sure that they have affordability element to it.
I like that. And then who did you? What is your vetting system in terms of your tenants? Because in as much as affordability is a big issue, it goes very much hand in hand in default risk also. So how are you ensuring that?
So obviously we have our minimum requirements when it comes to the tenants that we take on. We also do our credit checks to ensure that what's your relationship with your creditors, people that you need to pay. So if you are defaulting on your credit, you're most likely going to default in your rent as
Absolutely.
well. So therefore we use such mechanism to ensure that we vet our clients and then place them correctly.
So one of the reasons why I ask is because, if you remember, if you take it a couple of steps back, you may be young, but our parents are part of these societies, right? And it was burial societies, it was societies to assist with naturally, or in the traditional sense, a financial institution would come in and step in. But because our parents sometimes didn't qualify for the requirements needed to be part of this very Western financial system, it kind of closed them off. So it was a barrier of entry. And if you guys are using the same similar systems in terms of your tenancy, are you not worried about occupancy rates?
Unfortunately, we don't have such a problem.
That's good.
Unfortunately enough,
Yeah.
we've proven 100% occupancy across the whole portfolio. We filling our units very quickly.
Yeah.
Once the development completes, within a week or two, we are done with occupying these particular units. Mainly because the product that we're bringing in the market, it's needed.
So there's a demand.
There's a lot of demand and a very small amount of supply in terms of that. So therefore, we have more people looking for the same product, but we have a limited product offering in the market. So therefore, as a result, we don't have a vacancy issue currently. But should that change, we can look at other ways of vetting more clients and maybe testing the waters. As the time goes, we can take certain behaviors and put it in to see how they behave if you put them into the system. And if they default, then you take them out and you continue with your initial system. So it's about a trial and error, because this has never been done before.
Absolutely.
So therefore, as a result, we learn as you go.
As you say that, in my head, I'm like, there's so many big boys, especially of more the fairer skinned people in the country, the likes of your Baldwin properties, the likes of your Samarkand Central Development, Cosmopolitan Project, who have not really moved into the township. And I've always wondered what was the reason. Is it a lack of understanding the customer that lives there, or a lack of understanding that a certain product can survive in the township?
I think also more than anything is because of the stigma that sticks with the townships. And sometimes there's that they can't relate to the customers because and also the community, because you need to include the community.
You need buy-in from the community. You can't do anything there without them.
100%. So you need a buy-in from the community. You're gonna need to partner with the community and work with them so that you can also get the protection from that. So when you have a buy-in from the community, they'll protect your investment, and they'll also make sure that you have minimal things like your theft, and when there's riots, they'll also protect it with their lives, because that's part of their
they feel like it's theirs.
There's a sense of belonging and sense of ownership, and it's pride, because previously black people didn't really own much. So now when there's the sense of ownership, and especially the reason why we have fund is because people can actually do the actual investment into the projects that we're doing in their communities. By doing so, they now know that this is their investment.
Yeah.
So they will protect it with everything, and they will ensure that you don't have theft in your crime is very limited in your development.
It's actually insane how well structured what you guys are doing is, because often when you are paying money into a fund, you never really know what you're investing in. For most people,
Yes.
people never really ask for the fund fact sheet, so they never know what actual investments they're investing in, and that's why I'm quite excited to be speaking a little bit later to speak about your fund, because there's a direct correlation to the asset that you're going to be investing in when you invest through the fund. Just to wrap up the conversation about property development under what you guys are doing, let's talk a little bit about the cost of servicing the land, because I know that's a big cost. And also, how do you choose the land? How do you choose the spaces that you guys are looking into?
So there's 7 pillars that we use to identify our development sites. So you need to have about 7 amenities within 5-kilometer radius of these developments.
Okay.
Things like your health facilities.
Yeah.
South African police services, filling stations, access to public transport, easy access into highways, schools around it.
So you don't just wake up and say, "Yo, as I've got land in the Koko Magaeng, let me go build the flat mole."
No.
Amenities, yeah.
Around that, because you want your development to be accessible and you want it to be a convenient place to live in as well.
But also to increase in value, I'm assuming.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So we build in and around established townships. So we don't start a township altogether from scratch on the outskirts of any existing and developed places.
But townships struggle with basic services like sanitation, like water, electricity. It feels like our government in South Africa always puts them at the bottom of the barrel. So how are you are you guys installing, like in contingency plan, solar? Are you installing?
So we have backup power
Yeah.
in terms of electricity. I mean, last year we were told that at least for the next 5 years we can expect to experience load shedding in this country. At least means minimum.
Yeah.
So knowing how things are going, so you might have to put it other plans.
So when there's load shedding, the ugly place in the township that's going to be lit up, Kitty Flat is alone.
100%.
That is going to be so funny.
So we've gotten partners that actually are installing. They're going to be installing solar panels on all of our developments going forward.
Wow.
At no cost to us, by the way.
Wow.
So those are type of partnerships that brings value into your development and still saves you a bit of money, because you don't have to spend or think about the cost of the solar panels that you're going to be putting in your building.
Yes.
So because you have those partnerships. So and we're going to also have a backup generator so that we can supplement should the solar not generate enough energy, especially during the winter time. So these are some of the things that we're doing to ensure
quite impressive. Let's talk about the fund. I know that on Monday the 28th the fund is closing.
Yes.
Talk to us through the fund, and for those who may not understand it, I just want you to remember the Barlow World Kula Sizwe Fund that I explained a couple of years ago. I think about it in that context so that you can get a better context. But take us through the fund.
And also the Zakele shares.
Zakele shares. I think Owen Komo also had a property fund. I can't remember what Owen Komo's one was about, but I think it was something a little bit in the property sector. But take us through,
So
yes, his was in student accommodation.
Yes. So ours is into these township developments that we're bringing. I mean, we are bringing these lifestyle living apartments in and around townships. And we have one exciting one that is actually coming in Alexandra.
Oh, nice.
We're bringing the first tallest building in South African townships. 20-story building above ground.
Wow.
That's exactly what we are busy proposing to the city of Johannesburg to get approval.
Wow.
So that's very, very exciting. 5-story building above ground, retail center right at the ground level.
Wow.
We're going to have a lifestyle center in the middle with your indoor pool.
Wow.
And we're going to have a high-end restaurant right at the top, rooftop.
In Alexandra.
In Alexandra.
Alexandra Township. Oh, Alex, my daughter, this is really exciting.
So that's exactly where people's money are going to be working in and ensuring that we are bringing these developments and we're bringing them to life, and we're ensuring that our people have a dignified space to live in. So the fund is we're breaking the barrier to entry into property investment market.
Yes.
By ensuring that anyone that wants to invest in property, they don't have to have millions of rands in order for them to invest in property development. I mean, we know that property development is very capital intensive. I mean, to prepare the land itself.
Oh God, let me tell you guys, because I'm building. I am telling you, I am so sick of what's this process of building. And I'm building a normal residential house. You know, I can imagine when you're building 10 units, 20 units, you know, 20 stories up from the ground. I mean, that's huge amount of money that needs to go into that.
100% bulk services that you need to pay in.
Architect to draw.
Architectural drawings and engineering.
Land, what's that land thing that they do?
The geotech.
Yeah, I cannot. Listen, my architect says to me, you need to get a geo report. First thing I do is do a Google search. So my dad is also a professional engineer, right? So I send a message to him. He doesn't answer in time. I go onto Google. I look, what is a geo report? It tells me, okay, it's a report to say foundation, how deep, what. I'm like, okay, sharp. I can do this myself. Let me go there. Cometa. Guys, I like cutting corners. So I was just like, let me go do this myself. I'm driving to Limpopo now.
Unfortunately, that soil needs to be sent to lab to be tested on at the lab and give you a soil report to say this is the type of soil that exists there and these are the type of foundations that you can actually install in that particular land. So
that's money, by the way. You got to pay for that.
Yeah, you need to pay a couple of bucks. Yeah, it's not cheap.
No.
There's also traffic study because you're doing high density developments. You need to study the amount of traffic that your development is going to create. Additional development.
I like that you mentioned that because I really think that property guys like Baldwin don't think about that. I mean, I look at some of these Baldwin properties and I'm like, first and foremost, did you do any traffic studies here? Because you've got one gate for 1,000 units.
They did.
Into a main road. They couldn't have.
They did.
You think they did?
Yeah, no, definitely. You can never get your building plans approved.
Oh, but these are big guys who have money.
Or your rezoning be approved without you having a traffic study report. You need it. Whether it aligns with the regulations or not, that's another topic for another day. But you cannot have your file approved without that report being part of the file. Unfortunately. So those are some of the things that you need to consider when you're going into property development.
Yeah.
And all of those reports, they cost money and they're not cheap. It's hundreds of thousands of rands for one report. So and also you need engineering reports, your stormwater management plans and stuff like that. So that costs a couple of millions just to get your preparing your development. We haven't even spoken about the land cost itself.
Or material.
We haven't even spoken about the building materials.
The contractor.
The labor that comes with that as well. So that makes the barrier to entry into property development market very high. And most people they can't participate in that, including myself. If I were to do it by myself, I'd never be able to do it. But because we also previously have realized the benefit of pulling our resources together.
Absolutely.
It's called combined or collective buying power. So when we have a collective buying power, we are able to use our combined resources to access better investment opportunities that gives us better investment returns.
Absolutely.
So that's why one of the purpose of the fund exists, to say, let's pull our resources together. I have a bit of money, but it's not enough to get me started by myself. Or I do have enough money to get started by myself, but I don't have the time, I don't have the knowledge, I don't have the resources that it takes to pull off a successful development. So therefore, as a result, let me be part of this community that has all the resources, that has all the skills, that has the experience of doing it, and also I can leverage my funds together with other people's funds. Now we're putting it in a bigger pool to do bigger and better things. Then as a result, I get better investment returns from my money. So I'm sending my money to work. however little or however much I
it is.
have. So I'm sending it to work for me instead of me working for money all the time.
Absolutely.
So that's one of the purposes of the fund. So from as little as 5,000 rand, people can invest and buy shares. So they will own share certificate. They'll get a share certificate from that proves their ownership of these particular shares.
5,000 buys you how many shares?
5 shares.
So it's 1,000 rand a share.
100%. We've issued 200,000 shares at 1,000 rand per share, which
That's
makes
200 million
Yes.
that you're hoping to raise.
Yes, that's 200 million rand fund.
All right, 200 million rand that you're wanting to raise from the public in any structure, right? So they can come as a stockfile, they can come as an investment club, as an individual, as a business,
company, as a trust, for their minor, and also if there's an unwanted estate or there's an estate, a deceased estate that they want to invest on their behalf, they can also still do so. People who are in South Africa, they can invest, and people who are non-South African resident, they can also invest. Non-South African companies are also welcome to invest with us.
Okay, that's very interesting. But what is the maximum that each entity can invest in, so that we don't have the big guys
taking the
whole thing?
So the maximum is 20% of the fund itself, which is 40 million rand.
40 million rand per entity.
Per investor. Yes.
Oh, okay, per investor, yes. Okay, yes. Correct. Prospectus is on the website?
It's on our website, www.bizzhouse.co.za under the investment tabs. Or you can go to www.bizzhousecapital.co.za. That's where you can find our prospectus, and they can and also the mandate application form for them to start their investment process.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about regulation, because we know in this country regulation is a big thing. Regulation protects people. Regulation is actually a friendly tool, right? And people don't think it is, but it really, really is.
It is.
Talk to us about your registrations. Who are you guys operating under, and all of that stuff?
So we are an authorized financial service provider under the Rainsol Fund 2 Limited license, FSP number 50359. That's where we are regulated under. So we have an FSP license, so we are authorized to handle the public money.
All right.
So we are allowed.
And the reason why I bring this up is because I hear a lot of people talking about property stock files, and oh my God, I'm investing in this property stock file, this one, and I'm like, okay, is it a registered fund? Because in this country, if you are going to be running a fund, it has to be registered. You've got to have an FSP number, key individual, and there must be a compliance officer to be
100%.
able to speak on what compliance you guys are supposed to be under, and if you are actually compliant, right? Very, very important for you guys to remember this. But also, you guys have, what is it called? Is it an asset manager that oversees?
So we have fund manager,
yes,
which is Rainsol. We also have fund administrators, which is Grovest.
Okay.
Yeah, so your money is really, really, really safe with us.
Yeah, look, I don't think Lebogang is even trying to run away with your money, right? But I think also what the connection that I wanted to make, which was very, very important, guys, is that on a normal day, you would go to the likes of, and I'm just using this as an example. For instance, I've got some investment called the China Feeder, what fund. Unless I pull the fund fact sheet, I have no idea. I mean, they can say 10% is in offshore property, 10% is in South Africa, local property, then they'll say 5% is in equity. I never really have the full scope and breakdown of what are these assets that I am actually putting my money into or buying units of. And ideally what Lebogang and them are doing is come be part of our community. The assets that we are going to be buying is we're going to be building these new assets like the one that they're going to be building in Alex. We already have existing buildings, right?
Yes, 100%.
Right? And then some of them you're going to buy to refurb.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
So and we already own the land that we're actually going to be developing.
Yeah.
So we're not saying come bring your money and we'll find the land once you have the money. So
Yeah.
we have already invested our money into the land itself. We have ensured that some of these projects are actually ready for development. So we've prepared the land. We've already paid all these engineering, architectural, and services that we need for the development to happen in these particular townships, especially also in Tembisa, Villa Lisa, we also have a development that is coming there. Some of the buildings, we have them on OTP, so over to purchase. We've already left them in so that when the funds are ready, we can already put the money into that and already start earning the money into the fund to generate returns for people, because that's exactly why the reason why you're sending your money to work so that you can receive a
some sort of
dividend income from that particular investment.
And I think that's quite an important one, because it's probably going to be my next question. You read my mind, was how much are you guys putting up? It's all good and well to have a model where you're going to be raising public funds, but how much of your own are you putting up? And it's great to know that there is a substantial amount of money that you guys have already put up. Are you going to be borrowing any money? Is there going to be a part where you are borrowing?
So should we have a shortfall of the money that we're trying to raise, then definitely we're going to leverage the funds that we've already have with debt. But we want as a minimum debt as possible to ensure that we get maximum returns from these particular investments.
And I'm assuming those types of conversations will be discussed in the annual general meetings of all
100%.
shareholders,
Yes,
right?
yes.
All right, perfect. And then how long is the lock-in period of the fund?
So the minimum lock-in period is 3 years, obviously to allow us to
actually do what you're going to do. You say you're going to do
development.
Yes.
And then after that, we also are going to list the fund on an out exchange, and ultimately we want to list on the JSE.
All right, very, very interesting times that are really coming up for Bizz houses. These are some of their plans. 28th of February, the fund will close. So if you have an interest in that, if you want to get into the property ladder without having to buy brick and mortar and finding an alternative, this is one way in which you can do it. Remember, this is not financial advice. This is simply putting you into the scope of what is possible out there. 28th of February is the last day. You've got to make sure that your mandate is in, your documents, your FICA documents, and you have deposited your minimum amount, which is 5,000 for 5 shares, right?
That's correct.
All right, very, very interesting times, and I look forward to the day you guys do list on the alternative stock exchange, and then the big journey of your IPO onto the Johannesburg Stock Exchange.
100%.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate that.
Thank you so much for sharing all that information. If you are looking for more information on the team at Bizz House, please do go onto their website. You'll find all the information. They've also got Bizz House Capital, right?
Yes.
Bizz House Capital, which ultimately is probably your direct way to get onto this fund. But if you are perhaps in any of those spaces, Villa Lisa in Tembisa,
yes,
correct, and you are looking for a rental property, this is the one that you need to be considering. Thank you guys. I'll see you guys at the next one.